All right, guys, here we are on our next broadcast. We're on broadcast number 55, which is super awesome. And you know, it's we started in July, Mike, and this is going to be almost 1 year anniversary, and I'm glad to have you on our anniversary episode.
I appreciate
And,
that.
yeah, and wait, today we have Michael Thomas. He's an executive director of Operation Meraki. Am I saying that properly?
Meraki, but it's okay. We'll take it anyway.
Okay. and he's gonna. This is a great foundation that he started. Is a nonprofit focus for helping veterans that are coming out of transition from the military, and they face challenges after conflict and separation from military service. And they do this through building community and partnerships that address challenges of reintegration with the unique mental health programs and employability training. And I'm so thankful for you, Mike, for what you're doing, because we know, you and I both know, we're both veterans, and I'm a disabled veteran as well. But I want them to learn a little bit of something about you and why you're doing this and doing Operation Merkai.
So we'll say Meraki one more time.
may-rah-kee. See, I said that's what I'm saying, Meraki or Merkai, and
No,
let us know what that means. You know,
okay, so
there's a meaning behind it too.
So Operation Meraki just spoke to Operation being military. Everyone knows Operation always goes well. But then Meraki is a Greek word that means putting a piece of your heart and soul into the work of your hands. So a little bit about me. I'm a 100% disabled veteran. Started off as a 9/11 first responder, spent 3 months on ground zero. And then within the next year, I was going into service. And when I did that, I didn't expect, I was 11 Bravo. I didn't expect to, like I go in there and I'm like, I just want to be a soldier, right? I want to put on a uniform. And ended up going into OIF in 03, first push. And then from there, I just kept the luck of the draw, just kept hitting rapid deploys. So every time I would go into a new unit, it would be like, we're going right out. You get a month of acclimatization, and then you're back out into the desert. Then I shot well, right? So because I was good shot and I was a communicator, top 3, shoot, move, communicate, I had them all down. So because of that, I became an asset. I was clearing in OIF when I first came in, and breached doors, man. That was it. I breached doors as a point man multiple times. I would probably say out of 75 clears, we had 1 casualty, and I went in that door every first time. So I took that mentality. Once I got out of the military, I sort of got the big boot, it came ETS time. I did 5 deployments at that time. My wife and I looked at it and said, I have to either ride a desk. My pull hees, for those who don't know what a pull hees is, my pull hees was non-deployable. I had PTSD, TBI. I've been blown up twice. And so like they had me marked to where I couldn't go anywhere. I'd have to ride a desk in order to go next rank. I had to ride a desk in rear det, and I didn't know how to do that because all I knew was combat. So we looked at it. We had a family started, and there was a break in service, so there was like a out for 6 months or something like that. But during that break, I lived in my car for over I don't know, man. I'd say about a year was what I was in my car, and then I met my wife. And then after I met my wife, we started doing a lot of like growing as a family. And I don't tell too many people this story because I don't know what it'll do. I mean, I've been out of the service for a while, but we were on hard times, man. I barely could make a job. I barely could do anything. I had nothing. I was living in my car. I met her. She was put together, but we were living in a 800 square foot home. And it was me, her, my son, and she was pregnant. So like, it was like we were in this small little rinky-dink place, working like dogs, not barely having anything. I was going to the unit every day, and money wasn't being where it needed to be. And And then all of a sudden it was like, you know, the uniform was taken from me, you know, like I gave it up, walked away. They took my ID, said, I appreciate you, put a boot in my butt, and I was outside the gate. With me, I looked at it, when I looked at that transition period, I looked at it like I was outside the wire. So I knew how to survive, right? I knew like if I was going on mission, I would just put myself into the mindset of nothing can stop me. I'm just going to continue to push until something happens, right? And so undiagnosed PTSD, all of that fun stuff, ups and downs, rises and falls. And I found myself a member of the global Tiger team for Microsoft when they were doing the SMS to SCCM transition. So I was on the global Tiger team. And then from there, I went to Google, I went to Haynes, to Avnet, to Honda North America. And through that corporate world structure, I started to go higher and higher into executive roles and sitting on executive boards. And I started to see that I didn't have to change who I was. Okay. I didn't have to change, you know, who, like, everything I was taught as a soldier, right? All I had to do was be sure in who I was, and I had to learn how to talk their talk, right? I had to learn the parallels between who I was in uniform and who I am now in the corporate world. And once I learned that, now I teach it, right? So once I learned that, I realized that there's this fear of transitioning into another structure. But when I go into my class and I say, hey, by the way, C-level is like your brass, your high brass. And they're like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, you don't talk back to them. It's top down up there, you know. You know, when you're talking mid-management, you're talking, you know, your E9 through down to E7. You're talking mid-management. When you're talking management, you're talking E6 to E5. When you're talking worker bees, employees, you're talking E1 to E4. All of a sudden, people go, oh, I get it, right? And it doesn't become as scary. But it's those parallels and learning how to throw those switches in the brain that makes the veteran more successful. And so learning that through my process, I developed an organization that turns the lights on, man. It turns the lights on and gives resources with the thought process that a veteran doesn't have to change who they are. Someone coming out of service don't have to change who they are. They just have to show the organizations that they're going into the value of who they are. So yeah, they just get a new mission.
That's it. And I love the way you put that, because we don't have to change who we are, because who we are is who we are, whether we're in the green suit or the gray suit or the black and green suit, or they're going now to the old pink and greens and stuff like that. You know, who we are is who we are.
Cookie.
Yeah. Yeah, but who we are is who we are. And it's just the lingo, the verbiage might change around us, but who we are as an individual does not change. And because we pick up certain skill sets, we pick up discipline, learning how to be on time sometimes.
Well, think
being
about
focused,
this. Think about this, right? Mm-hmm. You go into, have you ever been put into a unit, or you've put people in a group and said, build a team, right? In the Army, there's been missions where they give me a cook, a commo guy, a logistics guy, an 88 mic, a truck driver, and they put us together and say, hey, build a comms team.
Yeah.
And I'm like, none of these guys have MOS background. You have 2 weeks to put a comms team together because we have mission, and this is who we have.
Exactly.
And so from my leadership mind, my NCO mind, or even like my E4 mind, whatever, I look at it and I see who's the strength, who's the weakness, where they can battle buddy up to make a team. And so I have this innate ability to measure team success and learn how to navigate team building, right? And so if I could take that into the corporate world, imagine the type of impact I can have in a corporate world if I use that same skill set when I'm managing a project and given a team with underskilled people. So the mentality we have growing through our uniform, plus past skills, all turn into a being, and then that being comes out and it loses purpose. Mm-hmm. Because the identity in their head has been snatched with a uniform takeoff. And I'm like, man, when you take your uniform on and your TDY, and you take your uniform off and you put on, shorts and a t-shirt, you go to Hawaii, are you not a soldier anymore? Like, no, I'm still exactly. You're still that same person. That person is still inside you, that grunt, that grit, all of that wisdom, all of that knowledge, mission data, all of that stuff is still in there. Mm-hmm. But if you are so focused on what you're wearing, you'll never be able to activate that guy again or that gal. Mm. So you go into the corporate world and people look at you like you're handicapped. They look at you and be like, oh, they don't know how to do this. Oh, they talk too hard. The civilian world is not as upper echelon, is more like military life. Okay. It's sort of like everybody talking to each other straight. But when you get down into the mid management and lower management and everybody like is slightly talking, like, okay, all right. So if you say you're an idiot, they're going to be like, what do you mean? That offends me. When with us, we say you're an idiot, it just means square it up, get yourself together, start moving. Come on. Like, come on, Turbo, let's get moving. Right. So instead of that, we now learn that we say stuff like, man, this is really getting challenging. I need to, we need to come strategize this. We need to do a SWOT analysis. We have to figure this out so that the team itself can move forward. What is the difference? What is the difference? There's no difference except for the way that we approach it. And that's it. Mm-hmm. So I teach the approach.
Yeah. So
it's like bowling, man. You only got control until you let the ball go.
Exactly. Oh man, I love this. I love it. So, Mike, when you're dealing with people in transition, mm-hmm. Guess what will be the number one thing that you see that soldiers, airmen, Marines, corpsmen, when they come out, and what do you think? What is the number one thing that you see they're having a problem with?
Emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is one of the most deficient skills we have coming out of service, because we get taught to turn off emotion. We get taught to navigate it in a way that it isn't required. Now, when you do like village stuff and you have to interact with people and stuff like that, when you're on mission, that's totally different. You turn it on, you turn it off. In the civilian world, you need it on all the time, especially in the corporate world. So the biggest issue that is out there is not only the emotional intelligence deficiency, but the fact that identity is wrapped in camo or digi. It's wrapped in that. So once it gets taken off, then it feels like the armor is broke. It feels like I can't do it because everything I did was behind that shield, behind that uniform. So when you take that stigma away and you go, hey, if you were on mission and you did X, Y, and Z, how would you navigate this? And they can spit it out. We just got to get them to the same level of regurgitation as we do when we're calling in movements, calling in any kind of mission tracking, like we do SWOT analysis in the military. We do spot reports. We do all different types of things. We do risk assessments all the time.
Yes.
You can't do anything without a risk assessment. You do it without a risk assessment, you come see my desk. You do a PMCS without a risk assessment, I want to know why we're getting ready to go on mission and there was no risk assessment that's submitted to me with your PMCS.
Yeah, exactly. Now for those that don't know, a SWOT analysis is your strengths, your weaknesses, opportunities, and what else? What is the other one? Threats.
Is your threats.
Threats. And you know what? And I love that you mentioned that, because we already know in the military that type of stuff, like you said, risk assessment. So he's giving you guys an example of we already have the tools because we've learned it. Every time we go on a mission, we have to do a risk assessment, whether it's a combat mission or a training mission or just a movement of training of folks. We still do these things. And look, he's giving you guys an examples of the things that he teaches his folks through his Operation Meraki to help transitioning folks come out of the military into the civilian world to have success. So you can find what it is that your talent, skills, and abilities are coming out, because we all learn differently in the military. We all learn and we gain our different strengths and weaknesses. But a SWOT, we do that in the military all the time through our risk assessment. So translate risk assessment into SWOT, and you're like, I got this.
Yeah, but then the other part about this is we have a lot of undiagnosed hurt coming out of the service.
Yes.
Okay, there's a lot of undiagnosed hurt, and what happens is that undiagnosed hurt carries on to our insecurity of who we are with our lack of emotional intelligence, and it implodes. And then what happens is you come out of the service and they say, you'll be great for a warehouse. We're going to put you in a warehouse job. Why? I just came out of commo. I've been doing SATCOM for the last 12 years. I've been doing tropo. I've been doing, logistics. I've been doing all these different things. Why am I going to a warehouse? Because coming out of service, all you are to the job force is a timely, unapologetic, hardworking employee. That's it. Because you're a veteran, you're already deemed that you're going to be to work on time. You're going to wear dress and wear appearance is going to be good. That you're going to work, and you'll work yourself till your wheels fall off. They know that, because that's what in the mentality of the hiring manager, that's what they think of you. You're a workhorse, not a technically proficient soldier, airman, Marine. None of that matters. And then you have this thought process that veteran is a trend now, right? Veteran is a trend. So organizations are popping up using the veteran moniker. We serve veterans because they know it's popular and they know that there's funding for it. So you get organizations that come up, that pop up, that don't have veterans in their forefront, just metrics that allow them to get funding, and veterans are not getting served. So you as a veteran that is watching this have to, you really have to vet the organizations you're going with, because it's detrimental to your health, your well-being, and your family to have the right team side by side with you that is pushing you to the next level. That's pushing you to your next pace in life.
So how, with your organization, how can you help veterans to navigate that road? Because I saw some of that stuff, but I don't want to talk about it. I want you to talk about it.
So there's a couple of ways. Okay, so we have 3 core programs, right? Those 3 core programs, we have some future consideration ones, but those won't come anytime within the next year, or at least until end of 22. But our first program is Operation Meraki Refocus. Okay, Operation Meraki Refocus is a photography program that is it's teaching photography as an alternate means of therapy, as a bridge to traditional therapy. Okay, so I don't want to take out the therapeutic need that's there. I don't want to take away, if someone needs to see someone, I don't want to take that away from them. But what I do want to do is give them a tool to start navigating that trauma on their own terms. And I want to use those tools that whenever all hell breaks loose, they can pull down into that tool, and it works for them. So we teach photography as a way to navigate. And out of 300 veterans that have gone through the program, we have about 180 of them that are going to traditional therapy, that are using their photography, or even have picked up the mantle of becoming a professional photographer and building a business for themselves to sustain themselves. So that program within itself has the potential to not only stimulate the veteran into coming to grips with trauma, but it also is a cognitive shift, and they may come into entrepreneurship development on that. And so that's Refocus. And when I was doing that class, I had veterans in the class. You know, veterans get by veterans, or service member get by service women. And all of a sudden stories come out of the woodwork, and they'll only talk to each other. They won't, you know, some of them won't even talk to their family because they don't believe they understand the trauma, etc. And so I'm sitting in class and I'm hearing stories from, you know, 1987, you know, and they're like, well, I haven't told anybody, but I don't even know how you got that out of me. And I'm like, okay, there's something to this. And so Guardians Never Forget was born. Guardians is a documentary that is capturing the stories of veterans that we're losing daily, and we're putting it into a traveling exhibit. Is the future thought process of it that will take these stories nationwide. It's a perpetual documentary. I want to do about 40 veterans a year, and that thought process is just to document it before we lose the story. And that way I can stand as a historian for my brothers and sisters, right? So those two alone teaches storytelling, teaches a way to navigate by purging yourself of your story, giving it to someone coming behind you, you know, keeping a record, but then also teaching you how to go out and find a way to express. So I'll give you an example of one of the exercises we do. With Refocus, we do a find your five, is what I call it. Your five photo. So your five photo in the class towards the end, after we've taught and we've done everything, we do a photo walk. And in that photo walk, I give you a single word. Now, everybody gives these words to us, so I make sure they're not like superficial, like bus. Like there's something that is impactful. So it's like freedom, you know, breakthrough, you know, healing, things like that. So they're words with purpose. You give them, and so we give them and distribute them in the class. Everyone gets one word. We go out for an hour and a half, and all they have to do is find how to represent that word in a photo. So they'll overshoot. Every new photographer does. They'll shoot 400 photos, and you're like, you only need to shoot 12, like, you know. But they'll out of those 400 photos, they'll sit there and they'll look through it, and the other part of it is after you come back, you have to explain why that is that photo. So it's not superficial. Like, it's not like I just did it. I took a picture of a crack in the wall. You said breakthrough, so I took a picture of the crack in the wall. No, it's like, okay, you know, I see a flag flying, freedom. The freedom for that. The reason I thought about that is because I remember back in Iraq when, you know, this flag was facing forward. So, you know, just like when the flags would be on the you know, front of the trucks, and we would see them flying backwards, but they were always moving forward. So this is where I felt freedom, right? And so that will come down, and I'm like, perfect. Because now you're expressing yourself. You're breaking the stigma of having a conversation. So that happens. And so Refocus was our core program. We are right now developing Reengage, because it is the fiscal year for Reengage to be developed and built the way I want to. The idea that the process is going from Scout to Pathfinder. Okay, so Scout being someone that goes out, surveys, comes back to the unit, gives a report, and the unit knows movement. The unit knows enemy size. The unit knows this. Pathfinders go out and they engage enemies. They clear routes. They set up for air assault drops. You know, like they secure landing spaces. They do all of this stuff because they're skilled and they're made aware of all of the terrain of the enemy. So with the thought process, you come out of the service, you're a scout. You're in survey mode. You are just going out and you're just gaining as much data as possible. So we're going to put you through an 8-week program. That 8-week program will go with everything from wearing appearance to and I really structured it military. So it's very like it's very military to bridge to civilian. So we start out with like wearing appearance. We start out with decorum and we start out with you know, learning like performance-based interviewing, resume writing for both like your civilian side and your federal side. You know, we do emotional intelligence. We're going to start adding language classes because I think an employee that has a language skill makes them more diverse. It makes them more available for growth. We're going to be doing, we're bringing employers in to interface with the veterans so that they can talk about their culture, and we can educate the employer about what it means to have a veteran in their environment. And then once we're done with that first 4 weeks of just, you know, pounding the veteran with data, then that next 4 weeks, they're going to be responsible to come in and act on the things that they were taught. Think about the transition for basic training. That's the whole mentality of it. Yeah. Transition to basic training. It take you 8 weeks, 9 weeks before, some 16, some 17, but 8 weeks, 9 weeks, you know, to before you got the transitional mindset to say, I'm ready for this uniform. I know what this uniform means. So we're taking that same pathway and we're going, okay, so now you've learned all the standards. You've learned all the standards. You've done all the PT, right? Now we're going into week 4, and this is your turning blue phase, right? Like we're going out of basic training. So now you're already expected to have a certain look when you come into the place. You're talking a certain way. You're carrying yourself a certain way. You're building on additional stuff in the hopes that at the end we will do an interview. I don't want to tell this because this is the secret. But so at the end, something happens.
Okay.
And the idea is you'll walk away with a role. You'll walk away with an actual employment. Now we're not guaranteeing 100% placement, none of that. I think our goal for this year was 60 to 70%. That's our goal. But if we get 60 to 70% and the last 30 to 40%, we turn them within the next couple months into employment, so be it. But our goal is we now have direct hire roles with Amazon, Microsoft. I'm trying to get Google to jump in and give us a couple of roles. There's a couple of other corporations that we're going after that are going to open roles. But the key to success in Reengage is the Veteran Success Liaison. So the Veteran Success Liaison, their whole job, they are people who have either retired out of corporate America, have made it, have done it, and is giving back time, but they are mentors. Their job is to see where the veteran is starting to shake in takeoff and try to balance that out to get that flight where it needs to be. So think about it like this. You go into work and culture gets too crazy for you. And now you have, instead of trying to navigate that yourself without with no like understanding of the corporate space, you're trying to navigate that yourself. You get to go to someone and say, hey, this is what's going on. And this is my heart. These are my hurt points. And they get to help you to pivot. And then when you pivot, you get put back in. The ultimate goal is to be employed for a year. That's the first goal. The first goal is 1 year, because our veterans are leaving work here in Ohio every 7 months. Every 7 months, we have a turnaround. We have an 80-90% placement rate, outstanding, which is all underemployed roles, but we have a 37% retention rate. So where's the fix? The fix is go after the retention rate, work on the placements we have, lasting their first year, and then we work on what their next year goal is, what's their next 2-year goal is, and we maintain with them, and we never leave them alone. Eventually, we're going to open these programs up to families, but we've got to get veterans in the programs first and get them moving. And once we start seeing those numbers, we'll roll it out to families, and then everybody will be able to come in here.
Man, no, that is so robust, and it hits all the points, because I know it. I felt it when I came out, went into a new job. You feel kind of lost in the sauce a little bit. Yeah, I got the job, great, wonderful, but now you're dealing with other employees that might not understand who you are.
People that don't just pick the right foot up, put the left foot down. Like, come on, man. Like, 9 to the front, 6 to the rear. Let's get moving.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very, very true. There's a clash of mindsets, attitudes, lingo. You might be like calling somebody, hey man, why are you acting so stupid? But then you're not really, you're acting like an idiot, or hey man, come on, buck up, and what all the language that we have in the military. And sometimes, unless there's another veteran that works there, they get it. They might chuckle and hey man, we really can't say that.
Yeah. And here's the funny part, right? So think about this. If I change curriculum to TLO, if I change the way I teach to veterans and I turn it to hip pocket training opposed to structured corporate training, right? Like the first 4 weeks, TLO, task condition standard. You're going to come in here. We're going to do one task. We're going to master it. We're going to do another task. We're going to master it. We're going to do another task. We're going to master it. And then you get muscle memory. Military is built on muscle memory.
Oh yeah.
If I hate to use the phrase, if I beat this into you, when all hell breaks loose, you'll be able to, okay, right to go. Right?
You're doing a knife hand. You're doing a knife hand. You're supposed to. I'm gonna beat this into you. Like what?
Yeah,
what
it popped up. I gotta put that away. Hold on. They're just finger and steepling now. No, but that's the whole thing. Is like, I've gone so far as to make the teaching like understandable, because I think sometimes when we do veteran training, we get above people's heads. Yeah. And when I was teaching initially, I'm like, yeah, so let's talk about performance-based interviewing. And they were like, where's the coffee? Yeah. Where's the coffee? And I'm like, it's here, right here. Yoo-hoo. And then I say, wait a second. I'm thinking I'm already talking to people who have already been in the job field, job market, stuff like that. And even if they have, and they've been out of the uniform for a while, the skill sets they can learn if you teach it in a way that's acceptable, like nothing makes a veteran feel better than you keeping them in a veteran mindset, the soldier mindset. Like if I take a Marine and be like, come on, Marine, let's get this in, they'd be like, oh, Marine, I'm always a Marine.
Yeah, exactly.
Like what I want to do with the organization is I almost want to do like USAA does. When you pick up the phone and you've been out of the service for, and I say, hey, Staff Sergeant, hey, Sergeant First Class, how you doing? You're like, hey, what's going on? Nice to meet you, USAA, 10 years after I've gotten out. But hey.
They make you feel welcome.
So like, I want to build like, this is my future goal, is I want to build like a rank structure. Not so much like a E series or anything like that. But as the scout becomes a pathfinder, then I want the pathfinder to be able to evolve, right? So I want them to be able to come back, do some training, and then from there, they get professional development stuff that allows them to continue to grow, so that they don't stop at their entry level or mid-level role, that they gain the skills to become, to build their future. I firmly believe, and this is just me talking to everybody or the one person or 10,000 people that are watching, I believe that if we make an effort, veterans will meet us. If we make an effort, not just say we want to do it, but if we make an effort and we secure them coming out of uniform, like right now, I'm trying to build a skill bridge program, so that when when people are coming out of service, they get 6 months right out of uniform in a job to stabilize.
That's awesome.
And so that's my goal. My goal is to get a warm handoff from TAP. I put them into a skill bridge role with a program that we're building, and they get 6 months right out of uniform at work. That gives us enough time to process their family, get them training, get them moving forward. That gives us 6 months with a veteran who is working full time to cultivate them to be better in their role and potentially get picked up by the employer, or be able to transition into something comparable and maybe get a certificate or something under their belt.
Well, this is so valuable. This is so valuable to our transition veterans. And, I'm over here in San Antonio, and you're in Ohio.
Antone.
Yeah, San Antonio. This was actually my first duty station when I came in.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, I know.
You got out there.
I know.
He's like, I came back. I don't know. I couldn't leave it alone. I love San Antonio so much.
It was pretty. It's a nice place. Man. And you got to let me know if you're ever in San Antonio. Let me know. I know a restaurant in town here. I'll take you to. But lunch will be on me.
You just said food and travel. I think I can make it happen. No, but what I'm starting to see, we're actually with Operation Meraki, we are pushing the goal is to impact locally and grow to a national organization. So we know we have a lot of work to do in order to get there. We're in the middle of a fundraiser right now, where we're trying to get people to help us to put veterans' butts in seats. And so, we have an open fundraiser happening right now to the end of the month. And, with that, it's just like, we have not stopped, man. We have not stopped. I will not stop until this organization is doing its mission, and it is making that mission happen. I want to celebrate every veteran that goes through this program. I want to build a community where they can come back when they know they need resetting, or even if they're just coming back to just give time to getting the next person in place. I mean, we have some future consideration programs that if I told you now, you'd be like, oh my God, like they're really good. They're well thought out. I spent 3 years building this organization thought process. And in 3 years of doing this, I looked at every gap that was affecting me and my battle buddies and battles, my battle buddies, period. Just, I looked at it and I was like, why doesn't anyone see this mess? And now I've built an organization that's going to tackle it. Absolutely. And I need the community. I need all of you guys. I need all of, everyone that has a show to invite me so we can talk about transitional thought process, how we can break the transitional stigma, how we can change the landscape for veterans that are transitioning and their families. That's it.
Amen. Amen. And Mike, before we end, how can they reach you? How can they support you? How can they find out about your programs?
So any social media platform is Operation Meraki, Operation Meraki. So at any social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, LinkedIn is a different thing, but Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And then on top of that, operationmeraki.org is the website. There you can apply to be a volunteer there. You can donate there. You can learn more about the programs. You can sign up for programs. You can sign people up for programs. If you're a social worker and you know that they could benefit from the program, sign them up. As of right now, I am funding everything. So every veteran that goes through my seat comes out of my pocket. Now, I would love that to stop, but at the same token, if that's what it takes to get more people through our seats, then so be it. But this is where I want to put this caveat. The caveat is simply this. I am one of you. I am a veteran just like you are. I'm a 100% disabled veteran, and I'm going to tell you, I will fight for you, but my programs are not easy. My programs require you to put your boots on, strap them up tight, and get ready for the ride. That is what my programs are. I'm not going to, it isn't like a disrespectful, like knife hand you all day, or like get down and beat your face, like we ain't doing all that. But there is a requirement. One, all my programs are dry and drug-free. They're all dry and drug-free. It just makes it for us to be able to place you faster and better. And I need you on a clear mind, clear head for you to get your stuff done. Plus, there's veterans that struggle with addiction, and I don't want to allow anything in that will sideline progress. Two, when you come in here, I need you to dedicate the time that you're in here to be in here. And I guarantee you do those two, my team will do the rest. Well, not really. You'll do it too, but but we are dedicated to making sure that everyone that comes out of here doesn't feel alone, doesn't feel lost, doesn't feel like they can't make it. We're here to take the hill one group at a time, man.
Guys, if you haven't heard Mike's heart for just touching the veterans, touching their families, because if you touch the veteran, you're going to touch the families. So once a veteran is healed inside, it affects everything around him. Go to operationmeraki.org, support him. If you know somebody in the local area, I guess you're in Ohio?
We're in Ohio right now, but I've served people in Austin, I've served people in Portland, I've served people around. So if you have a need, contact us. We've got resource partners that are in different parts of the country. So if it's something that's outside of our wheelhouse, we know a person that we can put you in touch with, or we'll do the footwork for you.
Man, I just love it, man. I love your heart, Mike. And any last words before we go? Any last words for our audience that you want them to know about what you guys do in your programs?
You know, I don't think it's about us and our program. I think I just want to talk to the veteran transitioning. I think understand that transition takes progress, right? Like it's a process for you to move, but you can't stay stagnant in the hell that's breaking loose around you, right? So what has to happen is you have to look at your situation as if it is a temporary storm that you're pushing through. You're just going to bed down for a little bit to get some strength back and keep pushing. This transition is a dance. If you learn and you get the right partner, you'll have a great time. If not, you'll look like the dance shows that are on TV with retired actors and singers. Won't say no names. We're not licensed on this show. But your progress will be hindered by getting the wrong partner. We're here for you, whether we can serve you or we can't match you. It doesn't matter. We will find somebody in our network that will help you. So do not sit here. Do not sit wherever you're at and feel alone. You are not alone. There is a network of people here ready for you. And I'm so happy to be a part of this community. But no battle buddies are left behind in my camp. So reach out if you need to, via the website or 614-957-3942. And you can reach out to us and we can help you on the path, man. That's all I've got.
All right. Look, guys, support him, support his organization. They're doing so much good right now. And it's important to highlight organizations like Mike's, because we need them everywhere. We need them in each state. We need them. We need you nationwide. So I'm just happy that you're doing this. Support him also, even if you're not a veteran and you like supporting veteran organizations, support Mike by contributing to his organization. Look, I don't get no kickbacks from this at all. I'm just saying, support him, because I needed Mike and his organization when I got out. And I see the value in what they're doing in helping us veterans get into the workforce and be the great people that we are. We were great in our military service, and we can be great in the civilian world doing great things, and not just being, like you said, just being an employee, but eventually being maybe even an entrepreneur, like he said, having your own business.
You'd be surprised at how many people see gaps coming out of uniform and never get cultivated. It's like we get taught process improvement so much that when we get out, we see deficiencies everywhere. And to develop an entrepreneur, all you need is one deficiency you see that you rectify. And so that's I totally agree with you. Like the development that, oh my God, man, I can talk all day about this. I'm sorry. Well, I don't want to take your end. Go ahead, end your show.
No, it's all good. Because your organization is helping people, point blank and range. And whether, like you said, contact them if you guys want to contact them, and they can't help you out in Ohio, but you're in Texas or you in Portland, like you said, they will point you in the right direction to organizations that can help you out where you're at. And again, hopefully you'll, I'm hoping, and I'm pretty sure you will, with your tenacity and everything else like that to help veterans, you'll be a national organization. So guys, reach out to them. And I'm going to spell, it's Operation MERAKI.org, or you can look them up on Instagram, on Facebook, connect to them, ask them how you can support them in their endeavors to reach out to our veterans. And guys, thank you for listening in. And thank you, Mike, once again, for taking time out of your day.
I appreciate you and your platform. And I'm so thankful that you had me on your show.
Thanks, brother. And guys, like and subscribe, go to his website and like and subscribe to his website. And thank you again for coming on, and we'll see you on the next broadcast. Take care, guys.